Welcome back to the program. If you're just joining us, this is a special edition of the campaign edition of Choice 2017. Both Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta, it's like they've rested their campaigns for today. But earlier reports indicated that the former Prime Minister, that is the NASA presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga, might be taking his campaigns to the upper eastern county of Marsabit County, where he's going to tour, among other areas, like Samis County, Moyale sub-county. We are going to confirm that for you, but remember, be sure that we're going to cover that for you once it happens. Welcome back to the program. Now, there's something we were talking about before we went for the break there, about peace and justice. You know, NASA propagating for a justice, and Jubilee saying that they need to have a peaceful elections. Which comes first?
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, the issue of peace and justice, one of the and some of these things we learn through jurisprudence, some of these things we learn through experiences, some of these things we learn through what has happened in other countries. Now, peace and justice is a debate of a chicken and an egg.
Yes. Which came first?
Which came first. And that's where the issue of peace and justice actually lies in. And there have been over years different schools of thought of which one is better than the other. Now, in an ideal situation, where democracy is working, where human rights is working, where rule of law is working, where governance is working, where institutions are working, peace and justice are together. You can't achieve one without the other. They synergize each other. They are symbiotic in nature.
Yes.
Now, in a situation where those factors that give birth to peace and justice don't work, then you have to ask yourself, between peace and justice, which is better? Or if faced with a situation, which is better? Then you'll understand that justice is all about reparation, while peace is talking to humanity. Now, when faced with a situation whereby you have to deal with peace and justice personally, and when you look at jurisprudence that has developed over the years, and I'll give examples of different countries that have been dealing with these issues, you'll find that any head of state who finds himself in a position whereby he is to compromise between peace and justice will opt for peace. Why will that happen? It's because when you're looking at peace, you are dealing with humanity and saving lives of people. So let me save life and humanity before I deal with issues of justice. Now look at what happened in South Africa. When the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission was being established, there was a debate whether, at that time, whether we should have the justice part of it. And they said, no, we don't want the justice. We remove the justice from it, and will only be removed with the peace and the Reconciliation Commission. That's how now it modeled, because nobody wanted justice at that time. But what was the epitome is about the issue of peace. Look at Liberia, for example, a post-conflict country for many years, and I've had an opportunity to work in Liberia. Look at Liberia. They reached a level and they said, we don't want justice. We're dealing with what? Issues of peace. We must stabilize the country first. Once you stabilize the country, then deal with issues of justice later. Now, that is in a situation that is not ideal. Yes, but in an ideal situation, those two, as I said, peace and justice, must reconnect.
John, the justice NASA talking about has everything to do with the election results. Of course, we are not yet there. You're saying both rulings by the courts have favored NASA at the expense of IEBC. So, and we've had some comments made by the president a while back in Baringo saying that, you know, IEBC should not be frustrated, in particular by the judiciary. So what does this kind of message signal now?
I think also in this case, I agree with my colleague here about the issues, the analogies giving about peace and justice. But then I'll also say that in Kenya, what we are seeing happening is highly perceptual. The issue of peace and justice is highly perceptual. It's a perception that politicians would want to create to favor whatever they are pushing and what they are propagating. You'll see, for example, whereas the NASA would say that they want justice, they will also push for, of course, they have also pushed for the reconstitution of the commission, the IEBC. And whereas they've been able to achieve all the things they have actually pushed for in IEBC, they've continued still to insist that they may not have a fair election, and hence they are not likely to get justice. And hence, if they do not get justice, there will be no peace. You know, that has kind of been going together. And for them, they have continuously given a condition for peace. That for us to have, and you can remember, there's an interview that was done on the issue of manifesto 2 weeks ago by one of the senior guys in NASA who had crafted that manifesto, and in one of the TV stations. And one of the things he said is clear: we don't have justice. If the election is not going to be fair, then there is not going to be peaceful. Now, the only thing I want to bring here, because I have seen this issue is bringing a lot of tension, by the way, in the country, because if you look at the Jubilee side, they have tended to be more stable. They have, in fact, they kind of guarantee a stable and a peaceful process in terms of the way they have been communicating and messaging. On the other side, NASA has been messaging in a way to say that yes, we can have peace, but again, it will be based on having a fair election. Now, that is okay to have a fair election. And I want to believe that NASA has had its way in terms of replacing the commissioners, even when it was unconstitutional. And also, they have also won key cases in terms of what they would say, protecting the vote. Now, having achieved all that, it is clear then that they have moved.
DJ wimbo upande wako, DJ wimbo upande wako.
peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear, all because we do not carry.
Of course, if you're just joining us, those are live pictures from Abyssal in Kajiado County, where friends, relatives, mourners are preparing to lay to rest the Interior Cabinet Secretary, the late Joseph Nkaissery. Let's go back straight to there.
Is there trouble anywhere? We should never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so faithful, who will all our sorrows share? Jesus knows our every need.
There you go. This is a very trying moment for the country at a time. The country has lost a total of 4 leaders. It started off with Gigi Kariuki, the senator for Laikipia, who was buried yesterday, and then we had the death of a former powerful minister during President Daniel Arap Moi's regime, that is Nicholas Biwott, Ambassador Bethel Kiplagat as well, and now the country is laying to rest a key figure in President Uhuru Kenyatta's executive, that is the late Joseph Nkaissery, who until his death served as the Interior Ministry. Once again, John, a very trying moment for the country.
Indeed, very, very trying. And we can only pray that God will give Kenyans peace, and that we can learn from these people that have departed, that it is possible for us to come together in unity. As you can see from yesterday, the President has clearly left all his campaign work, even when it is a few days to the election, to come and mourn these fallen heroes. And as you can see, even today, the former Prime Minister has also joined in, and not much happening in terms of politics and campaigns, because at the end of the day, we as Kenyans, we are one. We must remain one. Things that unite us are the same, and we must accept that we are more united than we are divided, and we are better off when we are united as a country, and we are able to defeat very many evils that may bedevil our country if we remain united. Of course, the saying that goes that united we stand and divided we fall. Remember, as we were talking about the issue of peace, in 2007, the economy had grown all the way to about 7%. We got divided, we fell. And we had to start again from scratch, 0.5% in terms of economic growth. Now we have risen again, we are almost at 6% in terms of economic growth. Should we be divided again, then we will fall. And we pray that then we will not be divided.
Of course, before I come to you, during the burial ceremony, speaker after speaker, they eulogized the CS. Everyone had a very emotional and some sort of, touching message for the CS. Let's now listen in to one of his colleagues, or rather one of his friends, who he served with for a total of 29 years in the military. Let's listen in.
Hiyo tarehe 7 tuko pamoja. Mimi nakunywa chai, yeye anakunywa bia. Nakunywa bia moja. Na hii bia Nkaissery yeye hapa anafunguliwa na mtu. Yeye na kifuniko yake. Anafungua. Hata mimi simfunguli. Hakuna waiter anamfungulia. Na alikuwa na furaha. Anaenda following day Harambee, Kajiado, akanambia Sunday juu Bomas inafungwa. Sasa tutakuja klabu yako. Nikaenda nikatengeneza klabu yangu ikawa mzuri, nikasema General akija hapa tutakuwa nakaa naye hapa. Nikatafuta TV, kaambia msichana yangu, tafuta mimi TV iko na digital. Tena kaambia anaandanga hii channel, anatoka hii channel, anaenda channel, naenda hii channel, anaenda hii channel. Sasa mimi nasema nikasema ile ya club inaoperatiwa kwa counter haitawezekana. Kaambia msichana yangu niletee mimi TV yako, tuweke hapa. Siku hiyo usiku 9:45 yeye naenda, mimi naenda. Mimi napata saa 6 na saa 7 simu kutoka wa security detail yetu. Afande, ongea na Sergeant Mutea. Mutea ni wa kwetu nyumbani, ni Mumeru. Lakini mwingine fikiri ni Masai. Angeweza kuniambia na Kimasai. Sasa Mutea akaniambia, afandi, njoo haraka. Njoo haraka means come quickly. Njoo haraka. Ina hapo le kauliza hivyo, mko wapi? Kasema tuko Karen. Nikajua hii mzee amegonjeka. Kachukua gari, kamsha bibi yangu, nikamwambia mimi naenda Joseph Nkaissery, hapana iko sawa. Karen Hospital. Sasa hiyo mimi nikienda nafikiria nitampeleka Nairobi Hospital because alikuwa anapenda Nairobi Hospital sana. Lakini sijui daktari yake. Sasa mimi nimpanga daktari wangu niite mmoja atungoje. Because this is my friend. The best friend I've ever had for 43 years. Mimi nikaenda with a lot of courage. Nikamweka kwa gari yangu twende. Kwenda mimi nakuta Madam Helen analalia huyu mzee. Hapa. Ala, mimi namwambia, mimi nauliza daktari, iko namna gani? Anasema hayuko. Namwambia it's unbelievable. Mimi hata sikukubali hata huyu mama niongeleshe. Mimi nagusa Nkaissery kifua. Haipigi na iko baridi kidogo. Hata mimi nikakubali hii mambo ni mbaya. Sasa kichwa yangu akaniambia, whom do I tell? Huyu ni property ya serikali. Whom do I tell? President of the Republic of Kenya. Ndio number 1. Kaenda kwa simu, mimi sina namba ya president. Nkaissery alikuwa naye na mimi naona anaongea na yeye. Lakini sikumuuliza lete namba because huwezi kumuuliza lete namba ya president. Hata ya IG ako naye. Hakuna namba ana, lakini mimi simuulizi because mimi nilikuwa security. Nikaenda nikaona iko ofisa yangu moja ni train intelligence. Na huyu ataniitika. Nikampigia na najua atafikisha message. Nikampigia mkubwa. Kamwambia sir, Joseph Nkaissery hayuko na ningependa hii report in confidence ifikie president. Aliniambia, namwambia tafadhali, akaniambia Kano Mugambi hii report itakwenda. Saa 8 ya usiku. Mimi nikaenda nikakaa chini. Sikumaliza dakika 5 nikaona IG and his 2 deputies wakakuja. Sasa nikasema basi mimi na hand over property ya wenyewe. IG nikamwambia ndio huyu, nikampeana briefing. Lakini tulifanyika, Mama Helen niko wako na watoto wako. Tukachukua mwili ya Joseph Nkaissery tukapeleka live funeral. Iko kitu kingine urafiki inaweza kufanywa kuliko hiyo? Si ni sawa?
That is retired Colonel Mugambe giving us an account of, the last moments of the late CS. He is a very close friend of the late CS Nkaissery. They joined together during their military days, served together for the total of 29 years, and he's saying their friendship, they've been friends for the last 43 years. Let me just come to, it seems, during his last moments there while he was at Bomas, he was in a very jovial mood.
Yes, when you look at, when you listen to what his friend is talking about, death is like being on a cliff and you just flip over within a second because he's narrating in a situation whereby it's a difference of 4 hours. They parted at 9:30 and by 2 the late minister was actually gone. So that's a difference of about 4 hours. And being he described himself as the best friend of the late, and being a man, I feel what he's talking about. I feel what he's feeling, because it's a difference of 4 hours. You are marrying with somebody, and before you know it, that person is no longer living, and you have to deal with the consequences that come after that. So it's a very unfortunate scenario. Now, as you were talking earlier on, and I think the Standard has captured this very well in terms of calling it the Black Month. And you've narrated clearly how many ministers we've lost, or former ministers we've lost in this very 1 month. But we also have to be sure that we are also aware that other Kenyans are also dying. When you look at the papers, people are dying and all that. And our sincere condolences goes to all the family. But what brings me down completely in terms of analyzing is how colorless some Kenyans have become, because we are seeing reports when you follow Twitter accounts and when you follow social media, you are seeing reports of some very creative people and very evil in nature killing others when they are still alive. Yesterday I was reading a Twitter account that former broadcaster Leonard Mama Mbotela was dead, and it was going around and round, and then the gentleman came on much later saying that, look, I'm not dead, I'm still alive, and this is Leonard Mama Mbotela. So I'm just wondering how Kenyans, these are black month, yes, but why will you be so colorless to kill the living?
That is very wrong indeed. John, let me come to you.
Yeah.
Of course, we are still heading to an election.
Yeah.
His death has come just a few less than a month to the general election.
Yeah.
It's of course a critical moment that we've lost him.
Yeah, it's a critical moment, and probably one of the things I would say is we are, at least as a country, gratified that it has now been clear that the death of Nkaissery has nothing to do with foul play. Because then you'd have seen that bringing a lot of instability, especially in the security spheres, and also in terms of perception and how then people carry on from here. So we are at least gratified, and I hope that no other issues then will come other than what we have.
John, let me interrupt you for a moment. Let's cross over to Kajiado right now so that we get to know what some of the proceedings there are. We have a bit of a problem with the signal there, but you've seen clearly from those pictures that we've captured for you from Kajiado, from Belize, that is the hometown of the late Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaissery, as his coffin is being taken down there. Of course, it is a very emotional moment for his relatives, his immediate family members, his friends, those who have served with him. He's a man who served in various portfolios. He was in the military. Again, he became a member of parliament and served in the National Assembly. He also became a member of the executive, actually a key member in President Uhuru Kenyatta's executive. John, you've seen there the live pictures from Kajiado.
Yeah, it's important because it's good that KTN is actually showing us, of course, the casket going down, because then
it will serve like a moment of closure now.
Indeed, it serves as psychologically, we as Kenyans, it serves us to help us now understand and believe, and in a way accept that indeed a person who served so diligently, a person who brought to an end a bad spot of insecurity in the country, a person who enhanced the issue of information sharing between different government agencies to ensure that Kenyans are secure. It is important that now all of us can accept that indeed the general has gone down and has faded away, as I would put it, and that of course now we can then only now bring that to a closure as a country. Of course, it helps people psychologically to mourn and to accept that indeed that has happened, because it is important for people to now be able to also move forward as a country. And of course, you can agree it's not the easiest moment for the family and for very close friends. If we can already feel that as a country and as Kenyans, then I can be sure.
Family, Now, let's give credit to him. Of course, he has had a lot of achievements, but the one that will stand out for him is for bringing sanity back to the security docket.
Yes, security docket has been very challenging over the years. It's a very difficult ministry, because you are carrying the borders of Kenya within and outside, so it's very, very difficult. But we must give him credit for that. I think he took up the footsteps from where the Honorable John Michuki left.
Indeed.
After John Michuki, we had the Olelenku who had the challenges. But the credibility that you have to give him is because he came from the disciplined force. He's a soldier, so he knew where to touch and where to fix. So that helped a lot.
Of course, as much as you're making that comment, the burial is still ongoing there in Kajiado. Of course, it is a very trying moment, as John has mentioned, not just for the country, especially for his family members, his wife, his children, because and his friends. He has a lot of friends, not just in government. He has been, of course, he has been a member of parliament for Kajiado Central, and I'm sure people from Kajiado are still mourning, and they're still trying to come to terms with this tragic incident, because it is a sudden death. He is a man who was very fit, who was very much alive, jovial, as we've had those accounts from his very close friends who spent with him up to the last night before he lost his life. It's something that has shocked so many. Kissinger.
Yes, as I said before, no one is ever prepared for death. Everyone will want to live as long as they will wish to live. No one is ever prepared, because death comes with the. Look at how fit he was. Very slim, very lean, and if the reports are coming out that he died of heart attack, then it's a worrying problem, because heart attack is no longer associated to people being obese. Yes. We've seen athletes on the field collapsing and dying of heart attack, and so that just leaves us very close to our God and ask ourselves, when are we ever prepared in the event that the unexpected happens? So it normally leaves our family in a very completely shattered position, and it's to everybody, not only the Nkaisserys, but to every family that loses a loved one. It's never planned, and it's not an easy thing to overcome, and no one ever overcomes death, because the memories of the deceased live forever.
Of course, we're going to go back to Kajiado once we get those live pictures for you. John, Kenyans have been dreading the month of August for a very long time. You remember the 1998 US bombing. It took place in August, and so many other bad incidents. It seems this time around, July has turned out to become like some sort of a dark month.
Yeah, it has, and I would say that we just have to accept God's will, because the issue of death really is an issue that is only ordained by the Almighty. It is not an issue that we have control over. We cannot know when our last day and when we breathe our last. And as you can see, all these are senior Kenyans, and by senior Kenyans I mean these are elderly people who have clocked the age of 70 and above. And of course, we say, I know you are not a Christian, but in the Christian, whatever,
we share most of our values.
When you read the Bible, and it is not actually in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, it says that God has given us 70 days, and whoever now gets beyond 70 days, kind of must thank God that they have been added a bonus unto their life. The life expectancy in Kenya is not 70 years, of course. It is lesser than that. But these Kenyans must thank God, and we must thank God that they went all the way to 70 years. So we have much more to be grateful about their life in Kenya, and also to their families. Remember, these people, and particularly as we remember Nkaissery today, he is a father. You have seen his family. He is a husband. He is a grandfather. And
he supported a lot of people. I've seen people from Five and from South Sudan who has been he has been paying their school fees and everything. Before I come to you, of course, clearly this is a man who identifies well with both Jubilee, that is the ruling party, as well as the opposition. Let's now listen into what NASA's leader Raila Odinga had to say about the late Nkaissery. It seems we don't have that sound bite ready for you, but I think you've seen, the proceedings at the, burial ceremony. Raila Odinga came up, that is the NASA leader, eulogized the late Nkaissery, referred to him as a very close friend. He condoled with the family members, and he steered clear of politics.
Yes, I think it was
very interesting.
Yes, it was one of the smartest move to do. Unfortunately, politicians take advantage of situations and burials and drum up support for their own political gains, which normally happens in every funeral that you go to, especially when campaigns or elections are around the corner. But when you look at the mood, and this credit goes to whoever was the master of ceremonies and whoever was what the family desired. So probably Mama Helen must have said, I don't want a politically connected funeral. I just want to console and to be there with my children and to see off my husband and our father of my children. So you saw Honorable Raila Odinga took less than 10 minutes on the podium and just gave credit to the connections and the workings that have been with the late and didn't speak about politics. You saw also Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta keeping away from the politics and all the speakers that came there. So it's a very good thing that we have to, because otherwise you don't get the gist of why that person is dead.
Yeah, of course, a very emotional time there. You can see it on your pictures. Those are live pictures coming over from Ilbilis, that is in Kajiado, where the burial of the late Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaissery is underway.